about it. Hey, we're recording. How about that? That's wonderful.
That is how we start this.
Huh?
That is how we start this thing.
You typically, yep. You know, I realized something as I was driving home from moving my friend today. I, at that point, probably not at this point, but at that point, I had spoken more today in the voice of Kermit than I did my own voice.
That's funny.
There was a lot of dialogue at certain points. Probably not enough, but still, there was a lot of dialogue at certain points. For those who are interested, we embarked upon, shipped out.
Some of those words.
Some of those, one of those, any of those, all those. Multiple choice of those. Aha! Choose all that apply. We began a new D&D campaign with a group of friends and acquaintances and people I know and sometimes like, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
As a DM, it's people that I used to like.
I probably have to claim a certain amount of responsibility for that.
My goodness, when y'all,
Yes.
I was 100% about to just leave Discord.
You dropped out right there.
Roll20.
You dropped out right there. I have no idea what you're complaining about.
I said I was so close to just exiting out of Discord, exiting out of Roll20, and just leaving this morning when we first started.
Why?
You hear screams coming from outside. Everybody in the tavern runs out. What do?
I lit a
think
torch.
we'll just sit here.
I lit a torch. That's what I did.
I'm just gonna sit here. Okay, you're just gonna sit there. Yep. As there are screams going on outside. Yep. We see this kind of stuff every day. We're fine with it.
First thing you said was that all the candles went out. My low intelligence character goes, "Oh, it's dark outside." So he lights a torch. That's a perfectly rational thing for him to do.
It was. But it was mainly Kuya that I just wanted to jack slap. Yeah, I'll just sit here. Okay. Then what's the point of us doing this thing? If you're just going to sit there.
There was some questionable decision making that happened, not just because of low intelligence of the PCs. Also because of some of the low intelligence of some of the players. Not saying that they're stupid in general, just in this particular situation, they weren't really helping move the story along. Like when we were chasing Tala, or Tayla, whatever her name was, down the alleyway.
Yeah.
So, not to give too much away, if you would like to get like the full rundown on this, I will try to post a link to the video of it in the description down below. Kuya recorded it and it's on his channel. But it was kind of unique because we both threw some some sort of like dark spirit entity, ent-like things or whatever, and we take them all out and we run out in the street, and then we all start charging towards some sort of barricade, and two of our party members see people off to see someone that we had encountered earlier, like ducking down a dark alleyway, and the rest of us just missed it entirely. And they both yell out, "Hey, quick, after her!" So we go chasing after her, but we don't know why. And so we're like, are we trying to attack her? Are we trying to save her? And then like halfway through it, we realized that the two people who told us to chase her weren't chasing her. They were just standing at the mouth of the alley, just kind of like, "You guys are doing great."
And then he was like, "We were chasing her, and then we stopped." It's like, yeah, you did stop. Why?
I'm going to be honest. I'm probably not taking this campaign nearly as seriously as I could be. I blame it entirely on myself and my choice to play Kermit, which is what I was kind of getting
Kieran Mite, thank you.
No, it's Kieran Mite, and he is. You have to get the inflection right, the emphasis on the right syllable. But it's lots of fun, really. Yeah, but yeah, it's weird. But I think I'm nailing my Kermit. Maybe not my Kermit voice. I think I'm like 70% of the way there. Although with the
you're a good 70% of the way there.
I say with the present Kermit that just took over for Muppets Now.
I was giving the 70% for that Kermit.
Yeah.
You're 70% of the way to him. You're about 50% there to Jim Hensing.
I know I already tweeted this out, but I have to bring it up again because it is genuinely freaking me out. So those who are not aware, the Muppets have just released a new on Friday. They released a brand new show on Disney Plus called Muppets Now. It's pretty good. I really like it.
It's so good. I loved it so much.
I want to see more.
I seriously laughed out loud more times during it than I did during the last two movies.
Really?
That
says a lot because I really, really, really like those last two movies.
I mean, I liked the last two movies too, but I spent the majority of this short, was it 30-minute episode?
A little less than that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I spent the entire time laughing.
Yeah,
especially like. I won't give spoilers away for anybody. Well, screw that. I'm going to give spoilers away. Spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go watch it first. Then come. Well, you won't come back, but no. I don't blame you. Anyways.
Hi, Sass.
Hi, Sass. When Miss Piggy and I don't know this. I'm terrible with names. But the celebrity that was there with her, when they were getting the slap treatment.
Okay.
And she's like, slap, slap, slap. Slap, slap. I was like, I know where this is going, and I love it.
Yeah. Tay Diggs, and she's just like lightly touching his face. He goes, "Oh yeah, I can feel the tingling." And then she turns to Miss Piggy, and it's
Whack!
Like, "Here it comes, a full wind up."
To be fair, Miss Piggy has a lot more slapping that needs to be done.
I'm
looking at my door to make sure it's locked.
Wait a second. Did you just endorse hitting women? I cannot believe you, Masters. We have to end this right now.
I love that that's the way you took that. I took it to the making sure my door was bolted so Miss Piggy couldn't get in here and hit me. And you took it to me beating women. I love it.
No, not beating them. Endorsing the beating of women. It's different. You're not doing it yourself. You're just telling other people it's okay. That's such a bad. Okay, so
the Other Things podcast in no way endorses the beating of women.
It does. Well, we should probably hold that disclaimer for a minute. I mean, we should definitely have that disclaimer put in here, but we should let me get through this thought first before we issue it. There's a comedian named Bill Burr, and he's got some notoriety. He's done a couple things that people would be aware of. The most recent thing that he did that I thought was really cool was he was in episode 6 of The Mandalorian. He was the human gunfighter who went with Mando to the prison ship and had the little robotic armed blaster on his back. But he has a bit that you can find on YouTube where he talks about the idea that there is never a reason to hit a woman. And I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree with it. All I'm going to say is that it exists. And I may or may not find it very, very funny. It's certainly memorable. And memorable enough that as soon as we start talking about this, that's the first thing my mind flashed to. Even he says, he's not saying you should do it. But perhaps the argument that there's never a reason might be going too far. That being said, the Other Things podcast officially denounces all forms of domestic violence, and you should never hit a woman.
Or a man, for that matter.
Fair point. Also, there may be a reason to do it, but you still shouldn't do it. Anyway, skipping back, going back 2 topics now. The Muppets now has a new voice for Kermit, the fellow who was handpicked by Jim Henson's wife and son to replace him when he died, was fired by Disney. I'm just going to put that out there. Just going to say it blankly. You may pick up other things as inflections in my voice about that, but I'm just going to say that they fired him and they replaced him. The problem is, in my mind, not that the guy who they got is bad. It's very different. But they may be sending the wrong message with this, because the guy they got to replace the voice of Kermit is literally the guy who voiced evil Kermit in Muppets Most Wanted. Or Constantine, as his name was in there. And I'm like, nobody thought this was a bad idea. Like, nobody went, hey, why don't,
hilarious
like,
idea.
Why?
I love it so much.
Like, this is like soap opera levels of just weird. Like,
yeah, we missed an end credit scene somewhere.
Yeah, where he breaks back out of prison and swaps with Kermit again. It's because it's him.
Yes. Love it.
I mean, now we probably talk more about the Muppets than we probably should. But I just find...
No, we don't. We don't talk about the Muppets enough.
We talk
Shut your
about
mouth.
we talk about the Muppets more than most rational people.
Okay.
Okay. I knew I'd find a point of connection here. Yeah. But like, some of this stuff you just can't make up. Also, I forget if I mentioned this already in the podcast. I know I mentioned a couple minutes to Masters, that after the D&D session today and doing my Kermit impression, there was a certain point today where I had spoken more in the voice of Kermit than I had my own voice. So that was fun.
The funny thing is, I don't remember if you said that on the podcast or not.
I don't either. In case I didn't, I said it now. Ha ha. My problem is I don't really practice speaking as Kermit, but I do a lot of practice of singing as Kermit, which is probably not the most effective way to really get his voice down. But what can I say? I just love Rainbow Connection.
Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lover, the dreamer, and me.
Something like that. Close enough. I think. It still makes me sad. Yeah, so that was fun. We went a lot of directions off of nothing.
Yes. And then when y'all finally gave up on, y'all finally gave up on her, and as she's rowing away, and you're like, oh, I guess I don't know, just stand here, I guess.
I mean, in my defense, I was transferring from my computer to my phone at that point because I had to drive to go move a guy's house.
Okay, so they didn't actually catch you up. So you guys were chasing after her.
Mm-hmm.
You were making your way towards the docks. Once you get down to the docks, you see her getting in a rowboat and rowing towards a ship that is offshore.
I'd like to roll a perception check to see if there's another rowboat.
Hello. Like, they were like, we don't really. I mean, some of us might not be able to swim. I was like, there are other boats. Just ask.
Or, I mean, also, I can swim. I'm a frog. It's what I do. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my word! And then they were like, "I guess we'll just hide in a building around here." I was like, "Okay, if you hide in a building somewhere, you're skipping more than half the campaign."
there are just a couple of small issues with your present course of action. It would be incredibly
Oh my
helpful
goodness.
to me as the DM if you would please make a rational decision.
Golly, I don't think they're capable.
I'm
Oh.
sorry I abandoned you at that critical junction, Masters, but I really had to get where I needed get where I was going. So,
Well, the thing is, if more rational decisions had been made prior to that, we had already been done at that point.
I mean,
Oh my goodness!
again,
Like,
I probably could have taken Taylor, whatever her name is, down. Um, but I wasn't sure if we were supposed to be doing that, and I was just kind of running with it as he's kind of stupid, and someone just told him to chase. They didn't give him any more directions, and so he's just kind of working with it, and then everyone else is like, "No, don't kill her," and so he's like, "Okay," and then he poisoned her, and
so I have only read part 1 of 3
okay,
of this adventure.
right,
Part 1 is what y'all completed today.
mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that if y'all were to have killed Taylor, there would be a sort of a fable situation where it pops up on screen and says you have killed an important NPC. Would you like to continue in the new chaos you have created?
I mean,
Or load last save point?
I don't know precisely what's going on. He was kind of stupid. I mean, still is kind of stupid. He's got some more fight left in him. By the way, did we get in a long rest, or am I just
No.
okay?
No. No long rest.
That's gonna be super helpful.
There will be no long rest during this entire campaign.
That's not gonna go well because he is down 14 permanent points of health.
It is. Oh, it's hilarious.
Oh man.
Yeah, the entire campaign is literally figure out what's happening, run down to the docks, get rid of the ship.
Also,
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that is the gist of the campaign.
Also, about that, getting rid of the ship. So I finally get back in the call, and I hear them, arguing with this guy who they met in the tavern about what they're supposed to be doing, and he's issuing some sort of quest to get rid of.
No, he wasn't.
Well,
he wasn't.
Okay.
His boss was.
Okay, so his boss is issuing some sort of quest. You don't do a good girl voice. I'm not sure which one, who we were ever talking to.
I do a horrible girl voice. I apologize.
If it helps, so do I. I do a really good Monty Python girl voice, but that's not a good girl voice in general. Anyway, so I stumble back into the call, and everyone is just like debating, not even really bartering for more money. And I'm like, some of y'all got families to feed. You got to do better than this.
Yes, none of them. They were just like, "Oh, okay, that sounds like a great price." I was like, "Okay, fine, that's cool."
And then I try to negotiate, and they're like, "Don't listen to the frog," and I'm like, "Wait, I'm trying to help you."
So if they had negotiated successfully, you guys could have left with 35 gold apiece, or she would have paid you 10 gold up front.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they were just like, "No, 25 is fine. That sounds like a reasonable price."
So, what was it? Oh yeah. So we come up and like, oh yeah, the ship was the cause of all this panic and chaos and murder, and I'm like, let's burn it. And they're like, no, you can't burn it. I'm like, why? Well, the spirits will be angry. Okay, and then what's the next thing we do? Here, take this powder and go blow up the ship. What?
So I think that might have been a little bit of embellishing on my part. But I mean, what else are you going to do with a powder keg?
I mean,
so let me go back up.
You can shoot it with cannonballs.
If brought into the no, not that one. That was if y'all had followed Taylor, and you didn't.
Idiots.
Okay. see here. She tells the characters that she spied a tendril of black mist reaching out of the Shadow Isles. The Shadow Isles is the other island, by the way. I couldn't. It's not highlighted, so I had trouble finding the name of the other island every time y'all kept asking. But that's the name of it, the Shadow Isles.
Okay.
And ensnaring one of the wrecks at Bilgewater's salvage docks, which leads her to believe that some of the stronger specters in the Shadow Isles have claimed dominion over the wreck and aims to consume the entire city. See, if you guys would have done an insight check on her, you would have learned that she is truly concerned for the well-being of those who live in Bilgewater. Once the deal is finalized, Misfortune gives each character one powder keg to help them scuttle the ship and points the characters towards the salvage dock.
Okay.
So a plan has not been erected. However, I don't know what they expect you to do with powder kegs other than blow up a ship.
I mean, that depends on how chaotic our DM is willing to allow us to be. There's a lot of stuff you can do with a powder keg.
With this group, I don't think the DM allows anything. I think the group just does what they want to do.
I mean, like, because I could...
And the DM just sits here with his hand in his face the entire time.
Because, I mean, this is my first time actually playing a chaotic character. And...
Yeah, I play... So, my main alignment is chaotic neutral.
Right.
That's nine times out of 10, that's what I pick. Every now and again, I will pick neutral good or true neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And those are easy for me to play too. I can't play a lawful character. It is not within my body to play a lawful character. I could so easily play an evil character,
mm-hmm.
but I haven't been in a campaign yet that would allow for such atrocities.
We need to do an evil campaign sometime. I mean, I should be banned from that so badly, but I want to do an evil campaign sometime just so that I can get up. You know, that'd be a really bad thing. Because
it would be lovely.
I technically created a lawful good character, and then I gave him a backstory so messed up that his alignment had to change. Yeah, I'm still proud of that.
So I play with the guys that we play on Sunday.
Yeah,
I play with them throughout the week in different other games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what night it was, but we were all in voice talking about it because everybody this entire week, everybody that we get in a group chat with, they have to tell them about Sunday's campaign.
Okay.
And how much they loved it. And Fang starts talking. He's like, so Rezo starts talking, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not too bad. And then he gets to the part where they eat him.
I so wish I'd have been there for this.
Oh, it was great. I was like, yeah.
There's a reason I should not ever make campaigns. I shouldn't write backstories. I mean, so a couple years ago, like when we were just getting, when Kuya had just made partner on Mixer, and there was this the original Squeaker Squad, you know, of Mixer, Spiral and Oswin before his voice changed, and like and a couple other guys, they got together and they're like, hey, we're gonna do this narrative thing, or do this like Minecraft based drama superhero thing. Hey Gavi, could you sit in and help us write stuff and maybe be one of the characters and do this? And like, okay, I could do that. That was a bad idea. Like, I turned my character into such a dark, tortured soul. They're like, we don't know what to do with you, and you please stop writing for this thing because it's so dark. It was bad. Like my character, you know how on our Sunday campaigns, Calliope deals with all of her issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my character did. He's just like, oh, you're being a problem? I banish you from existence. And not necessarily that was his power, but that was like an aspect of his power which you could reasonably make an assumption for. And then like he was like the most villainous superhero I could come up with. And not that I was necessarily trying to, but just that's how it came out. So again, I'm a bad person. It's fun. No one knows what goes on in here. Yes. So yeah, an evil campaign sounds like a lot of fun, but it would be so bad.
It would be great.
We would have the entire kingdom's army bearing down on us before too long because they're like, we cannot allow this to continue.
And we would wipe them all from the face of the earth.
Ooh, I look forward to it. We should really do this. I don't know. I don't know when.
I don't know who is strong-willed enough to be the DM of that though.
I know who we should absolutely not get to do the DM for that.
Kuya?
Fang.
Oh.
Kuya is also a good option to not be the DM for that, but I mean. I so wish I'd have been there.
I think
I'm glad I created a memorable character enough that it made an impact on somebody else, and they're like, so it seemed pretty normal until like it just went completely off the rails, and I don't know how to feel about myself anymore.
Oh. So you guys get a map next week.
Is that the Saturday? Okay. Why do we need the map? We're just gonna sink the ship.
You think it's gonna be that easy?
No, but I mean I'm just going at this from the clueless frog perspective. I get the feeling like this campaign is not going to end with him getting his color ascension ceremony.
Color ascension ceremony?
Yeah. In Grung Society, I looked this up, and I created a very in-depth character while playing Kermit the Frog.
For a 3-week campaign?
For however long it ends up being.
Which should be a one-shot?
Hey, I go all in on the writing part of it. The playing part of it is hit or miss, but the writing part of it
mostly miss.
Actually, I was hitting my rolls tonight, or this morning. I was hitting my rolls really, really well. When
you were attacking, you were phenomenal.
I couldn't get that what was it? Not con save. The second. Okay, so I failed on maintaining my grapple on her left leg, and I failed to get up the wall once.
That was based on strength, though, so it's kind of understandable.
There's a +1, That was fun. I thought that was just a brilliant maneuver on my part. I grapple her left leg.
That was hilarious.
I
was like, okay. I just imagined Kermit the Frog just wrapping his leg around a normal-sized human.
And that's exactly what I was going for. That is precisely the image I wanted everybody to have in their head.
Can't you see it now? His arms and legs are wrapped around. Kermit, what are you doing? I'm holding on to you. You're not doing a very good job. If you could just hold still while I do this. Okay, thanks.
Don't worry, guys, I got her. Oh. Yeah, it's just he is a joke character, but there is like a legitimate backstory to him. If you'd have taken the time to read my backstory again, Masters, come on.
I've read enough of your backstories.
This one's mostly positive, except for the part where he poisons Miss Piggy. Not actually.
Wait a second.
Did you just put 2 and 2 together on that?
No.
Okay.
I'm looking at this again, and I'm thinking that there's only 2 parts to this. That the third part is just telling you how you can set up your own campaign.
Oh, okay. By the way,
Yes. Part 3 is so. This is only going to be 2 weeks long. Well, it might turn out to be 3 weeks.
It's us. Come on, it's gonna be 3 weeks. We did a one shot in what, 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh,
That one was a little bit more difficult than this one, though.
yeah. How is that a one shot? It doesn't even make sense as a one shot. There's like 9 parts.
Well, if you go into the city and you go directly to the sheriff and get all the quests all at once, then go back out and do all the quests, and then come back in and talk to villagers, it can be done in one shot in about 5 or 6 hours.
Okay. That's still a lot.
But it was also meant to be teaching kids how to play D&D.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was built for. So there's that.
I think the learning curve was too steep for a good portion of our party.
Yes, I'm very much aware. Though 2 of them are currently watching Critical Role, so that'll help.
I watched, I think, 3 episodes of Critical Role, which was entertaining. Go ahead.
I am so proud of Foxy today.
Really?
Because the last 2 campaigns we've done, he has. Maybe it's just that he. No, okay, I'm not as proud of it. The more I think about it, the less proud of him I get. But he apparently doesn't read his character sheet or know what he's supposed to be doing, and he doesn't ask questions.
Okay.
Until it's too late, because he has not once played a character the way that the character would typically be played.
Right.
Like, he played a cleric at that one time, and he was like, I go up and I attack the guy.
No, it was a druid.
Oh yeah, druid. It's like I go up and I attack him with my weapon. That's
literally the least effective thing that you have in your arsenal, and that's your first move. This is not
like, you can build your druid. I built a druid that was a melee weapon user.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's possible, but that's not the build that you chose. You specifically told me that you wanted to be a caster and a healer. Why are you not doing those things?
Right. like Kieran. I built him to be I literally just tried to make him Kermit from Muppet Treasure Island, which is a great movie. Everyone should go watch that. Tim Curry's in it. It's awesome.
Yes. Well, all the Muppet movies are fantastic. Especially the ones pre-90s.
I'm going to be honest. I'm being 100% legitimate about this. I think probably, even including the George C. Scott version, the best on-screen depiction of A Christmas Carol is The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Like, I've seen a bunch of different versions of this. I mean, it's a Christmas classic, and there's a million different versions of it. And there's probably the premier one that everyone thinks about is the George C. Scott one. There's also Scrooge with Bill Murray. There's, a Mickey Christmas Carol. There's all these different stuff. There's Scrooge McDuck Christmas Carol, which is also pretty good. But like, honestly, yeah, it might legitimately just be Michael Caine who does such a great job. I have never seen anybody react to the Muppets as naturally and as openly and as honestly as Michael Caine does. And he sells Scrooge as a real person more than most other people playing Scrooge against other real people. I just bought into him entirely, and he's playing against Kermit the Frog, which is not typically something that gets the best acting performance out of people. In most cases. But Michael Caine just knocked it out of the park. It might legitimately be the best version of that story on film.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Mm-hmm. I was expecting you to not really disagree, but like come in and be like, oh, and then there's this. But yeah, really, really good movie. Also, Muppet Treasure Island. Muppet Treasure Island was the first Muppet movie I ever saw back in like 1997, and I thought it was magic.
The entire time I was trying to picture which film you were talking about when the first one you said. I can't even repeat what you said because I can't remember what it was. But I'm thinking it was the CGI Jim Carrey movie, Christmas Carol.
No. The George C. Scott Christmas Carol. It's from like the maybe late 70s, early 80s. Did you ever see the movie Patton?
Oh yes, I have seen this version.
Yeah.
And it's George C. Scott.
Yes. George C. Scott plays George S. Patton in another film, which is also a fantastic biopic, in its own right. But George C. Scott's playing, and we just kind of delineated it, not that he was the director or anything, but he was the portrayer of Scrooge, and so it kind of gets put under his umbrella because he is the driving force behind that film. He turned in a tour de force performance on as Scrooge, but I think Michael Caine really did a better job playing against Muppets, which is and I'm gonna put this out here.
My favorite part of that entire movie is when Sam Eagle has to be my favorite of all of them, because when he comes in and he's like doing the classroom bit, he's like, and so we will talk about America. It's actually the English. I mean, the British, or whatever. I don't remember the exact quote, but everything that comes out of Sam Eagle's mouth is gold.
It's brilliant. He is just great in everything. I mean, not that it's necessarily Sam Eagle himself, but I mean, like he does. His character adds very much to proceedings every time he's up there.
Yes.
And I did notice this, and I think that this is something that it's kind of disappointing. I think I figured out why sometimes the Muppets have not had as much success as they might have. And I think it's because a lot of the actors, sometimes who they get, just view it as being, oh, it's a Muppet movie. And then they don't really invest and play off the Muppets.
Yeah.
Like I said, Michael Caine is giving 110% in that movie. And it is...
Yeah, he is.
It is so good. Like, his performance alone is worth watching every second of that film at least twice this year. Before the end of the year, you should watch the movie twice.
I watch it every year.
And it's like, Christmas. It is so good. But other actors, they'll get,
along with all three of the Santa Claus movies. Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the Santa Claus movies. But like, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's a Muppets movie. Oh, it's a puppet. And they don't really engage. But maybe I have a weird perspective on this, but I watched the Kermit the Frog TED Talk. There is in case you didn't know, there is a Kermit the Frog TED Talk where he talks about imagination, and it's just like the guy doing Kermit voice, and there's Kermit sitting on stage, and then they have it blacked out, and you can see the guy kind of in the the blackout suit behind him holding up the puppet. But if you put that aside and you just engage with the character of Kermit,
I'm just gonna tune out for 23 minutes. Give me a second.
Why 23 minutes specifically?
Because that's how long the TED Talk is.
Holy crap. I didn't even realize that. I was just like wrapped up in Kermit, and I'm like, oh, wow. It is so good. And the ideas are presented as you can fully believe like this puppet character is real. And he does some meta talk and some fourth wall breaking, like he acknowledges that you have to have a certain level of suspension of disbelief just to listen to me sitting here on this stage, which is a good bit for a puppet. But I think sometimes a lot of the actors who get involved with the Muppets don't really buy into it. Like like RuPaul, he's not really an actor, so I mean, there's probably some limited ability on his part to engage properly from an acting perspective because he's not really an actor. But he was on Muppets Now, the first episode, and
I think he did a great job.
He did okay, but there's some points where he's just like not really looking at. He's not looking at them. He's not engaging with them. He is pointing himself in their direction, but like he is so stiff, and people, when they talk comfortably as he is being presented as he should be, they gesture more. They're more relaxed. But if you look at him, he is ramrod stiff through almost the entire thing, and I think he may have moved his hand 3 times.
I don't think I've ever seen him not be like that, though.
Okay, maybe he was a bad example. I typically don't watch a lot of RuPaul. I'm going to be honest. He's not really in my normal repertoire. Yeah. But
I've watched a couple of shows where he's in it as like a guest judge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see anything out of his movements that was different than any other time I've seen him.
Okay. But there are other people.
I may be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an avid RuPaul watcher because he's got the drag queen show or whatever.
Yeah.
But people that watch that probably could
pinpoint it a little better.
Your argument, yeah.
I don't know. But
I mean, it didn't seem off to me.
He just seemed he was the most recent person that I've seen interacting with Muppets. But he's not the only one. I've seen some other people who are just kind of like when it came their time to play with the Muppets, they kind of went halfway and stopped. Now, I think that there are definitely some great performances with the Muppets. Like, I think Tina Fey did a fantastic job in Muppets Most Wanted. Who was the guy in Disney's The Muppets? Oh, I can't remember his name. Darn it. I just watched it with my mother not long ago.
Talking about the guy from How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, that's the guy.
I don't know. I don't know why I even asked.
What's his name? I will find it. Jason Segel. I thought it was him. I didn't want to just dive straight into it. Jason Segel. He did a really good job. There was one point where I think it was actually like the emotional heart of the film, where they're not really the heart of it, but like one of the points of it, where he and Mary come back and he finds Walter to like give him encouragement to to be a Muppet.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if watching it, I'm not actually sure if the Muppet was on screen at the time, was actually like on set at the time, or if he was just emoting at an empty space, because his eyes didn't seem to be tracking with where Walter was sitting. There was only one point, but I mean, I hyperanalyze movies all the time, so this is kind of what I do. But like, I'm watching and I'm like, wait a second. Something here seems incorrect. He should be, his eyes are more focused towards the camera than they are actually, towards Walter. And I'm like, this is wrong. What was it? Like, even in the original Muppet film, I think it was the original Muppet film, where Where is it? Okay, not this one. Not this one. Actually, it is this one. Perfect. Is this the one that has Mel Brooks in it? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's the original Muppet film where Mel Brooks shows up as like the crazed scientist. Yeah, Professor Max Krassman, and like hooks him up to the crazy machine that's going to fry his brain and everything. Mel Brooks was also giving 100% in that scene, although he may have just been giving 100% at being Mel Brooks. He's just like buys into it totally, which is great. I mean, the Muppets have such a pure, wholesome presentation that I think some people who work with them don't really get the idea that that is the point. Everything nowadays, it's dark. I mean, isn't that kind of the whole point of the Muppets? Everything today is supposed to be dark and edgy and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it doesn't have to be. You can still just have something that's legitimately good and wholesome and fun and a joy to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't seem...
And incredibly inclusive without being overly overt about it.
Yeah. I love the Muppets. And I
love the Muppets so much.
I love the Muppets so much that I quite frequently refer to one of my cats as Muppet because she does Muppet things.
I want to meet this cat.
She's spastic and crazy, and like with Muppets, there's a certain limit to what you can actually do to like get them on and off screen. So a lot of, especially in the earlier stuff, what'll happen is that they'll just like pop up on screen because they're in the foreground and someone lifts it up, so it's like, oh, okay, there they are. Well, she does that. You'd be like, Penny, and she'll just pop up and she'll like, oh, here I am. And it's really funny.
In fact, there she is.
No, my door's closed, but she might be standing outside it right now. She knows her name, and she will seek you out. And if you whistle, she will come. It's creepy. Cats aren't supposed to do that. They're supposed to be aloof and terrifying. She's still terrifying, but she's not very aloof. Yeah. So, Muppet Talk. Yay!
We do talk about the Muppets an awful lot.
No.
I'm not as upset about that.
No, I need to learn more of the Muppet songs. It only takes me about 20 minutes to learn a song, and then like if I review it again within 24 to 48 hours, I don't ever have to study that song again. I just know it.
Same.
So it doesn't take a lot for me to actually, learn these songs. I just haven't done it. But like Rainbow Connection, I was like, yeah, we got to learn Rainbow Connection. That one is an absolute requirement. It's so good. It is probably now in my all-time top 5 favorite songs. It's just perfect.
Perfection.
Perfection. So go ahead.
I'm now an affiliate with Twitch.
By accident.
By accident. I wasn't even trying. It was just basically all of the people that came over with Kuya also followed me, and I was at 45 for about 3 weeks. And then the artist that I've been watching and hanging out on his channel, he just randomly said today, hey, anybody that's a streamer, type a 1 in chat and go follow each other. And I just randomly did it because, one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 more people followed me, and now I'm at 50, which is the minimum you need for affiliate. And so I've officially met all the requirements, and I filled out I wasn't going to fill out the paperwork, but Kuya was like, do it. And I was like, no. I was like, why would I do that? It was like, so people can sub to you. It's like, but that's just a waste of their money. They can go spend it on somebody else if they want to waste it. And he was like, well, maybe people want to waste their money on you. Like, fine, I'll go do it. And of course, he's already subscribed.
Yeah. I'm battling with this again because I am not going to say. I mean, some of my best friends are people who earn a significant portion of their income or all of their income through social media streaming platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great way to earn money. It's a very accessible way to earn money. And it's a much. It is easier for some people to engage in that type of work than it is a lot of other things. That's not to say that it's not work, because it absolutely is.
Absolutely. Like, since I've become an affiliate, I feel like I've done more work for my stream than I have the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've already designed, so you get, all of your subs get a badge. And then it tiers up every so often. For the first few, it's like the first month tier, the second month, the third month, so on. And so you've got to create sub badges for each of those. You don't have to, but they're super generic if you don't. Then there's your channel points, and if you decide to change those, then you've got to make a new icon for those. And then there are your straight up emotes that, luckily, I already had some emotes prepared. Because I wasn't really anticipating this, but I thought if it ever did happen, these are the emotes I would use.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a handful of emotes already made, but now I'm working on new emotes to add when I can. And then for my sub badge, I just took my my Cheshire Smile.
Mm-hmm.
I took that, and my if you subscribe to me for the first month, you get 1 eyeball. Then second month you get 2 eyeballs, and then third month you get the whole face.
Nice.
And I don't have anything planned after that, but I've got my first 3 months taken care of already. And then for my channel points, I went with playing cards. And so I went and got a fold of all 4 of the queens. And that's the icon that I have for that. And the Queen of Hearts is on top, of course.
Right.
And then I uploaded my Cheshire Smile as my first emote. For tier 2 and tier 3 subs, I put my flame hands, one of each hand, left and right. I put those at tier 2 and tier 3 because I doubt anybody will ever sub to me at those tiers.
Mm-hmm.
But I get to use them on Twitch now. And then I put, I'm waiting to unlock more emotes so I can put in my smirk and my what face. I haven't done those yet.
Gotcha.
I've got 2 or 3 bit emotes that I have unlocked already, but I don't really have anything that I want to put under a bit emote just yet. And so that's what I was working on, was those emotes. So the first bit emote I have is going to be the one that I just created that I'm trying to get some input on how to make it better. And it's basically just a pocket watch with a big sprawling of the word late over it. And that was the one that I was saying that was for you. It's not for you, but it'll get used on you a lot, I'm sure.
I'm quite sure.
Late Gabby and all.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And then I also created a little drinking bottle looking thing that has a string tied around it with a tag that says "Drink Me."
Very good.
And you can't really read what it says when it's in emote form, but if you realize the theme of the channel, you can easily tell that that's what it says. But yeah, I've just been playing around with that since 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Very good.
When I got the email.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem with anyone earning earning their way or earning part of their way through that. I'm just kind of like personally conflicted. And right now is not a good time for me to be personally conflicted about that, because I'm probably leaving my present employment in the next couple of weeks. I haven't told them yet. Just on the off chance that I'm not leaving, I don't want to give them ideas.
Yeah.
That's usually a really good, just point of reference for anyone who has not encountered that yet. Typically, don't tell your present employer that you may be leaving until you have something else lined up to go to. Just throwing that out there. You can do with it what you will, but typically it's a good idea.
In my case, I held off because when I was gonna go be a trucker at the beginning of the year, I held off until after I got my yearly Christmas bonus before I told anybody.
Yep.
Or told the important people. Because if I had told them before, probably wouldn't have gotten that bonus.
Yep.
And so I told them, and then I was all prepared to go, and then God told me not to, so I didn't.
Right.
And then like they were happy that I wasn't leaving because they didn't want me to leave in the first place.
Right.
Because my current replacement is a moron.
Okay.
For not lack of a better term, because there are better terms, but they're not terms that should be said on air.
Okay.
But so they were happy that I wasn't leaving, but like I could already tell that they were expecting me to leave, because like everybody got their end of the year statements of, hey, this is how much you got paid this year, this is the breakdown of your health benefits and all this stuff. Everybody got those except me.
Right.
And everybody got their the end of the year raise letters except me. And I could definitely tell that when I got my letter, it was not post-dated, because that's when you date something for the future, but whatever the other one is. I could definitely tell that they wrote it after the fact.
Right.
And then just dated it the same date they dated everybody else's.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit longer for me to get my raise.
I say in my case, they just flatly said there's not going to be any raises for anybody, which is not, the end of the world. But when they couple that with a bunch of other things, they make it really difficult for me to justify sticking around there. No, they're what?
I forgot to take a picture yesterday.
Oh, tragedy. Travesty. The end of the world.
Yes, I was doing so well.
Since you derailed us here with your lack of photo taking, I had a weird thought while you were talking about your emotes.
Yes.
In that we were potentially about to launch into some sort of mildly substantive subject, but for people who are new to the podcast, we've officially buried it under an hour of D&D and Muppet talk.
Oh, that is the way this podcast goes.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
We talk about anything and everything.
It
comes to our mind in the instant that it comes to our mind.
And I'm just like, wait a second. Anyone who comes here thinks this is like the most shallow, uninteresting thing possible, and then like an hour later we're like, the deep mysteries of the universe.
If you've tuned in this far, you now know the mysteries of the universe have unfolded before you. You can now reach into the fifth dimension and pull out all of your desires.
For those of you who left at 58 minutes and 23 seconds, I'm sorry, but you will not have access to this content. But yeah, with yeah, it is occurring to me that I may have a unduly negative perception of my own self-worth. And this manifests in a couple different ways, but chiefly in that things that potentially I might, get paid for, I don't even ask and for money in those instances. And in most cases, I turn down money that is offered. Like, someone comes to me, hey, here's money. Would you do this for me? I'm like, I'll just do it. Don't worry about it. Like, just
I do that too.
Just flat out. And I mean, some people, oh, it's just being a nice person. Well, okay, but and I get that. And if you like today, I helped the guy move. I don't care. I'm not gonna ask him for any money. I didn't even ask for pizza. I mean, usually when you help someone move, they at least spring for pizza. I didn't even think about it. Like, I'm just here to help a friend, right?
I have actively fought people that tried to give me money for helping them move.
The thing is, at some point, it's not that I enjoy moving. Don't call me. If you are about to move, forget I exist. Like, I don't like doing this. I've discovered that I really, really, really don't, despite how good at it I am, okay? And most of the good at it I am is just because I am fairly large,
massive,
and can move big, heavy things, okay?
I've been moving furniture since I was 10. I hate it.
Amateur.
With a bloody passion.
Amateur. I was like 2, and they're like, "Here, you can help us pick up after all these potlucks and stuff at church." There's 9,000 chairs.
That, I've been remodeling houses since I was 2. How about that?
Hey, just because you have a handy family that can teach you valuable life skills, that doesn't mean you should flaunt it to people who don't have that. We're walking around, they're like, "Oh yeah, we can just put some paint and spackle here," and I'm like, "What's spackle?"
Wait, what? You had a conversation with my father about spackle?
No. I mean, like, at the house I was moving today, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna do some touch-ups here."
I thought, wow, you had some deep conversations with my dad.
No, certainly not. But like, they're just talking. They're just going about, "Oh, here's how we can fix this and plug this in and rewire this," and I'm like, I wouldn't even know who to call to come and fix that for me, because I'm clearly not ever going to do it. Again, probably a personal failing on my part. I'm not particularly broken up about it. I have enough other things, like the Muppets, that I would rather fill my mind with. But getting back to my initial point, there may be some things that I am legitimately not fully appreciating that I have to offer to people, and I'm not sure how to rectify that, because in my mind I'm like, it's me. There's not really a whole lot there. So, case in point, I've been working at this other church, and I'm actually about to transfer over to there full time. Like, 3 major changes in my life are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I'm changing churches full time. I'm changing jobs, and I'm moving into a new house. Me, not somebody else. And I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible, and generally try and tell as few people as necessary that it's actually going to happen, and not try and rope somebody else into the whole moving process, because that's just a joy for everybody involved. Not just the big guy they always call. Anyway, that being said, where was I going with that?
I have no idea. Your self-worth?
Self-worth, something like that. I mean, not even self-worth, but like valuing what I have to offer. So I've been helping. There's what it was. I've been helping out this other church for like 2 years now, and the pastor and the pastor's father-in-law and the pastor's wife and like 9 other people in this congregation are like, "Oh, you're helping out so much. You're doing so much." And I'm like, what am I doing? I don't see the value added to this situation that apparently you do. Can you explain it to me? I don't know. You guys are telling me that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm like, I didn't even bring the empty bag, folks. I didn't even bring the twist tie to get off the bag of bread. What are you talking about?
I have that issue at work a lot of times. Like, they'll ask me to do something, I'll be like, okay, I'll just go do it. And then for like weeks on end, I hear, oh, Alex helped me do this, and it was so helpful. And so it's like, dude, what? It was barely an inconvenience. Super easy.
Barely an inconvenience. By the way, do I need to blank your name out now?
Not really. I mean, I've said it.
Okay.
I've mistakenly said it 100 times.
Okay. I'm just checking, because I know I still blank out mine, despite the fact that anyone with half a brain could probably figure it out. Somebody, not Sass, but somebody who may or may not be at this point is now very insulted. They're like, I think I have half a brain and I don't have any slightest idea. I hate you, Gabby.
Well, Foxy hates you anyway, so.
I haven't even done anything to Foxy recently.
Just because you won't show him your face.
What is the... Again, that's another one of those things where it's like...
FOMO. It's just FOMO. He has insane amounts of FOMO. He's never going to watch this podcast, so we have no fear.
Okay.
I have no fears.
I mean, that would be one of the... Hey, that's a FOMO. He is missing out on some, D and D- level content here. By not watching this. Not that I'm undervaluing my own contribution here, but I may actually be undervaluing my own contribution here, because that was entirely the whole point of my stream of consciousness and thought that I was spewing out rapidly and randomly for the last several minutes, in case that was somehow missed by the viewing audience. But
that was a lot of ASMR that I was not ready for.
Sorry, Sass.
Oh, you apologize to him, but not to me.
Well, he's a cousin, so he's family. You shouldn't do that to family. Shouldn't probably do it to strangers either, but you're just in that acquaintance ring where it's like, okay, there's some weird stuff you can get away with.
Well, Uncle Joe did let me have that last turkey leg that one year.
Yeah. I don't want to go there.
Still not convinced it was turkey.
I really don't want to go there. Yeah, we're not going there. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I may be undervaluing it. I may not understand the value that I am offering, but to my mind, I'm like, I showed up. That's not a lot. I sang. Hey, I like singing. It's also not a lot. I taught a lesson. I like teaching lessons. In case the experience that you have had with me has been in some way less than informative in this manner, I like to study the Bible, and I also like to tell people the things that I found in there. Teaching the Bible to me is not an inconvenience or a difficulty or a displeasure or anything else. I don't view that as really helping out. I just like, hey, thanks for letting me do this, folks. Haha, thanks, you're great. I'm thankful to you. Why are you thanking me? I can't believe you people are trusting me with your congregation. That probably shows some poor decision making on your part. Again, might be undervaluing what I have to offer, but in my mind, I'm like, you guys probably want to think that one through a second time, rather than being like, oh, it's so great, thank you. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how to react to this. Does that make sense, Masters? Or did you mute me 5 minutes ago? Thinking he muted me, or is just being a snot. Aha! Wow, boy, did I miss that. For those who are not able to see the Discord, which is all of you, I'm going to read this out, and then I'm going to pretend like nothing ever happened, and we'll just keep going on as with the stream of consciousness before. But since he's gone, it says, okay, I have to potty, so either pause and we'll pick back up, or talk as though I am still here. Lol. That being said, it's just weird how things happen, and then they continue on, and you're doing your best, but you don't really feel as though you're contributing. And in this particular case, I don't feel like Masters is contributing a whole lot because, well, he's not here. And we'll see how this goes when he kind of finally comes back in and realizes that the conversation has progressed. But will he ever find out about that I read his message? We'll never know. Speaking of unread messages, that's a real problem.
What?
So, remember how last week we had that cutout portion that didn't get aired because I pressed record and it didn't actually start recording?
Uh-huh.
And how I said that there was the girl that I was supposed to message back?
Yep.
I still didn't do it.
That's like, it's like a very Gabby thing to do.
I've had 4 people this week just randomly out of the blue ask me, so, have you messaged that girl? Like, not knowing that she had sent me a message, and I'm like, no. Are you trying to tell me something? Leave me alone.
Talk about FOMO.
I'm lonely, and I'm not sure I don't like it. Oh. It's yeah. That's some it's fear of missing out and fear of buying in. Masters, you have some experience with this. Perhaps you are a good person to ask this question to. This is one of my key insecurities about pursuing young women at the moment, because I have this question that comes to mind every time I think about love, marriage, dating, the whole 9 yards, whatever may or may not be involved with that. What do you do with someone who actually likes you back? Theoretically.
I wish I knew.
Okay. I'm so glad that there is not an easy pat answer that you're just like, oh, every married person knows this. That's
no. Sorry. That's if it was an easy topic, there would only be one book on marriage.
They actually did a study about this years ago, and there's a guy who published a book called His Needs, Hers Needs. His needs, her needs, not hers or hers or anything like that, but his needs, her needs, where he was getting his doctorate or something in couples counseling or whatever version of that there is that actually gives a doctorate degree. And at the time, everybody was pushing, and a lot of people still are, pushing the idea that the solution to all problems in marriage is communication. Like, if you have a problem with your marriage, communicate more, communicate better, communicate on their wavelength.
Communication is key.
No, not at all. He actually did a study. They did a study on this, and of all couples that went to couples counseling, couples therapy, with a heavy communication-based therapy program, about 70% of the people, of the couples that came in, quote unquote, worked out their issues. But 1 year later, of that 70% who worked out their issues, about 70% of that 70% ended up divorced.
That is because those 70% of the 70% did not have communication before they got married that would have led to them breaking up before they even got married.
That is also a key point, a very legitimate point. But this guy, he took a totally different tactic on it. He threw communication almost entirely out the window. You should talk to him from time to time. But he got himself appointed by the court as a court-appointed marriage counselor in some Midwestern state. I forget which one, farther west than I am. And he got it pointed to the court where like couples who were coming in for a divorce, they had to undergo a certain amount of time in couples counseling. And he says, okay, I'm going to give you, to the man, a list of things for you to do. And he's going to give to you, the woman, a list of things for you to do. And as long as you do these things for the period of time that I say, if at the end of the period of time you come back to me and you still want to get a divorce, I will sign off and you will get it. But if you deviate from this in any way, shape, or form, I will not sign off and you will not be able to get a divorce in this state. I think it was like 2 months or something. And his success rate on saving the marriage went from 70% or whatever it was for traditional people up to like 95%. And after a year, his success rate on that 95% was like 80 some odd percent. Almost completely taking teaching people how to communicate off the table. Because when all you do is teach people how to communicate, the first thing that they're going to figure out how to communicate is how much they do not like the other person.
Exactly.
And they're like, screw you, and not me doing it, but screw you.
That is a key distinction.
And he, like in his book, he describes his method, and I'm not going to get into the particulars because we've already towed the line on a couple of things, and some of the things that he told him to do were pretty explicit, in no uncertain terms. And by mandating that they had to do this as a married couple, something like 80% of marriages got saved, like straight up, and were the best, happiest, strongest marriages possible from that point onward. And I'm like, there's something to be said here. I'm not sure how we got to this point of the conversation. All I know is that we got here, and I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, so I was asking about like if there was something that, like, what do you, like, I get it. From the book, His Needs, Her Needs, there are some things that I would consider to be needs in my life. However, I understand that that is not all that marriage is. But my experience with the fairer gender, fairer sex, let's be honest, let's be very straight about this, because the whole gender argument, let's not go down that rabbit hole. The fairer sex is not just for one thing, and they have their own distinctive set of requirements, and I'm fascinated by the idea of what they might ever see in me. I don't know what I'm.
I love listening to you tiptoe around what you actually want to say.
And I think that might be why I make such a good Kermit, because he kind of does the same thing too. If I ever come out and say exactly what I mean to say, be very afraid. Because someone is probably about to die. But yeah, I again might be going back to that undervaluing my own contribution sort of thing, but it's like I look at myself, I look at my situation, I look at my finances, I'm like, what girl in her right mind would actually want to marry me? And then I look at some of the girls who have expressed interest, and I'm like, okay, clearly those ones are not in their right mind.
That's hilarious.
So maybe there's something to be learned here. What's funny is that you've actually met a couple of them, but that's a whole other story.
Oh yeah, you told me that before I even got in there.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, and the thing is, they are clearly never going to see this, so we can speak a little bit candidly. Of those people, of those who you have met, am I correct in my assumption that would be a very bad match?
I don't know enough to say.
Okay, well, I was hoping it was more obvious than that.
It wasn't.
Well, fine. That was halfway between Piggy and Kermit. I have no idea what was going on there.
That was their children.
I am so glad that has never been a thing.
It has been a thing. Did you not watch A Christmas Carol?
Okay, that is a separate thing altogether.
All the females were pigs and all the males were frogs. That's how sex. That's how sex works.
That's not how sex works. Also, just throwing this out here, another video for people to look up on their own time, and then just get really, really weirded out by. Zay Frank's True Facts About the Frog. Watch that and some of the frog mating rituals, and then I mean, I don't really have to finish the sentence, do I?
I'm confused as to why you started it.
Say, as soon as you get to that point, you're like, I can never look at Kermit and Miss Piggy the same way ever again, because this is so wrong. Why would this ever happen? Why would this ever be a thing? Jim Henson, as great as he was clearly not thinking straight when he thought up this pairing. It's
oh my goodness. And so I have gone back and watched the original show, which I've said many times on this podcast before.
Yep.
But I was amazed to see how early on that relationship started.
Uh-huh.
And how utterly adamant Kermit is during the starting of it that he is in no way, shape, or form going to ever be with that pig.
Mm-hmm.
For what he thought was obvious reasons that everybody else seemed to ignore.
Straight talk. I know some people who, in real life, were not brought together, but pushed together because people that they knew were like, oh, you should absolutely get with so-and-so. And then they did, and it was a terrible idea.
That's why I constantly tell my mother no.
Yeah.
She told me that after my last marriage that she was going to stop trying to put me together with people. I told her that was a good idea. But did that stop her? It did not.
Survey says that was a lie. Please don't tell your mother that I called her a liar. My mother
just give you her mean eyes.
Huh?
She would just give you her mean eyes.
That's the worst thing ever.
I laugh when she gives me her mean eyes.
I say, to her credit,
they're super ineffective.
To her credit, my mother has only ever tried to set me up with one girl. And as bad of an idea as that was, she has only ever tried to set me up with one girl. So that is a major accomplishment on her part, especially considering how grandbaby crazy she is.
My mother has enough. That might be why she has so many daggum kids. She's grandmother. I think she's crazy.
Yeah. I
She told me the other day that there is the potential for the 4 girls that they have to go up for adoption,
mm-hmm.
and that she was going to adopt them. And I was like, "You're gonna what?" It's like before the last one gets into high school, you will be in your 60s.
I get the feeling like your parents are a lot younger than mine.
They're 52 and 51.
Wow, your parents are a lot younger than mine.
Or 52 and 53. But yeah.
Are you the oldest?
I am.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, somewhat. Like, my dad is going to be 72 this year.
Ow.
No, he's only going to be 71. Still, 71. And my ma will be 59. So that's a bit of a jump in age years.
My grandfather turned 87 this year.
Yeah, my grandmother,
The one that's still alive.
the one that's still alive, will turn 95 in 7 days.
I think my great grandmother was 96. She died.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't quite. Of course, I was surprised she made it to 96 as mostly dead as she already was, mentally, anyways.
Yeah, my grandmother's not. She's not lost it, but I mean, she's not all there like she used to be. I mean, she's not all there like she used to be even 6 months ago. And now she's got a bunch of rapidly compounding health problems.
Yep.
It's kind of one of those instances where the writing is kind of on the wall and you're just waiting for when, sort of thing.
Yep.
That being said, my dad's side of the family, of which she is, the matriarch, we're all robots, so it's it'll be sad for a moment, and then we'll go back to beeping and booping like we usually do.
Yep, pretty much. That is my entire existence. It's like, oh, well, that sucks.
Like
Okay,
my
back to work now.
Like my grandfather on my dad's side, he was like this grand titan of a man. He was secretary of the Supreme Court of Michigan and this well-renowned lawyer, and he raised up his family and loved his children and did all this wonderful stuff and provided for them and carried them all the way through. And he died, and the only people who were crying at his funeral had married into the family. Everyone who was natural born was just like stone faced beyond belief, and like my mom and my uncle are just like, and like the rest of us are just like, yes, he is dead. Just cold matter of fact, he's gone. We were a family of robots.
Might be why we get along so.
Could be. It may also be our love of Muppets, but that's.
Well, of course. That's what that was the glue that held it together after we came together.
This is clearly just the Muppet episode. They keep coming back up, dadgummit.
That's because they just won't die.
I
like my jokes. Waka waka.
So.
I should really work on my 5G.
I almost it takes a lot for me to tear up or cry or anything. I think the last movie that got me was Up. The first time I saw it. Never again. But the first time I saw it, the first time I teared up.
So Pixar films generally, I don't like. If I was a crier, I could see where I would cry.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely do get the feeling of like I get the okay, I feel myself holding this back
Right.
feeling. It's not I don't actually cry, but it's like I could cry if I really wanted to. This is a moment that would make me do it. And most Pixar films, the first time I watched them do that, Coco did it to me.
It didn't get Coco didn't get me. Inside Out didn't get me with Bing Bong.
The ones that get me the hardest are the ones that I have personal experience with, because I don't have empathy.
Right.
I have zero empathy in my life.
Okay.
But when I've personally experienced it, I flash back to those moments.
Right.
And that's what gets me. So the part where where he goes and runs to Mama Coco and is trying to get her to remember, that just made me think of my great grandmother before she died.
Okay.
And that got me.
I'm with you. I could see why people would cry there, and it's clearly the point of the movie where you're supposed to cry. Nothing. I was I was told like the emotion circuit had gone offline. Please wait. We are rebooting the process. Reinitiating.
But yeah, like Good Dinosaur, the parts that you were quote unquote supposed to cry. Of course, The Good Dinosaur is not a good movie, so that's a different story entirely.
Yep.
But I felt nothing at all because I have no experiences to flash back on to base emotions off of.
That actually reminds me. Remember a couple weeks ago when you sent me your list of Pixar films under
Yes.
tier maker, and then I sent you back my list, and our lists are very, very different.
Well, they're not very different. They're just different.
The only tier that we absolutely agree on was D.
Except you had one movie out of D that I had in D.
No, our D are identical.
Or are they?
Finding Dory, Cars 2, and The Good Dinosaur. Our D's are... That's going to sound really weird.
Our D tier list
is identical, but everything else is vastly different.
That might stem from my love for the Cars franchise, other than Cars 2.
Maybe?
I don't know why I love that. I'm not a mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch racing. I have no idea why I love those movies so much, but I do. I love those movies so daggum much.
It's because you're from Alabama.
That's racist.
I'm okay with this. But okay, so in Up, the thing that gets me is not the opening sequence. Like, that's just life. There's nothing. I mean, as beautiful a moment as great as a relationship, and like as wonderful as a small testament to filmmaking itself as that opening sequence is, as many hundreds of people just tear up and cry and can't handle it in that opening sequence. I'm not one of them. The thing that gets me is later on when the scene is actually
when he pins the merit badge on him.
Nope. When they
find Kevin.
Nope. When he finds the adventure book, and he opens it up and he sees like the adventure that he and Ellie went on through their life was the adventure that he was looking for all along, but never realized that that's what she valued, and he had. It's a redemptive moment because he goes through that entire film feeling as though he had failed the love of his life in providing her the adventure that they'd always dreamed of together. And then he opens up this book and he sees that the adventure that he wanted to provide her wasn't what she actually wanted. What she actually wanted was all the things that they did do. And it's this great redemptive moment where he realizes what was actually special and what was actually important. And that's what got me the first time that I watched Up. Hasn't gotten me since then. But I mean, the first time I watched...
Now you know it's coming and you can prepare for it, dang it.
I can push those emotions down into the deepest, darkest part of my soul so they will never get out. Wait a second. That might not be a good thing.
So when I was on vacation last week, it wasn't just my family. It was also my previous youth pastor / boss / a lot of things he's been in my life. His family.
Okay.
And his wife, who was once my babysitter, apparently, because she likes to bring that up a lot for some reason. We were talking, and something came up. And I said, I have no emotions. I buried them in the backyard. And she goes, you have a backyard? And I said, well, at the old house. I sold them. So now my feelings are buried in the backyard of the house I sold. And she goes, that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go dig those up for you.
You're going to need a backhoe.
She said the people that own the house are going to be like, oh, why are you digging in my backyard? Oh, don't worry. I'm just looking for somebody's emotions. It's fine.
Yep. But yeah, film. I typically don't have these emotion things that people keep talking about. I don't understand them. I don't know how to relate to them. But that being said, I've been rewatching Avatar, and Avatar. There's a couple of moments where like,
The Last Airbender.
yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Avatar the movie.
You have to specify that.
Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar. There's probably a couple points in there where people are supposed to cry. Guess what? Nobody's gonna cry at those moments. They're not that sad. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I cried a little bit because I didn't get to ride a Banshee, but then I did get to.
That's not during the film. That's that. There, I think there was actually like a phenomenon that happened where
Phenomenon. Dun, da, da,
da da
da,
da
Phenomenon.
da 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 da. Um, but there
More
was,
Muppets for those of you that don't know.
yes. After Avatar, James Cameron's
For those
Avatar
of you
came
who
out.
may be unaware.
After James Cameron's Avatar came out, there was, I think there was actually an attempt to like quantify it and put a name on it, but it was like a disorder or something where they forget precisely how it was worded, but like people were having like severe emotional reactions to not being able to be on Pandora. Like they bought in so much into the idea of being on Pandora and it being this pristine world with banshees and flying and flipping over trees and doing all this kind of stuff that in real life they would never actually want to do in a million years, but they thought they did. That because they couldn't gain that, like there was a noted psychological condition that they came up with, and I can't remember the name of it now. Might as well be Pandora's box. That's a bad joke. Anyway. So I've been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. Again, we talked a little bit about this last time. And where I'm just now into book 3. I finished up book 2. Book 2, like there is the moment in Avatar: The Last Airbender where everybody is supposed to cry. And the first time I watched it, I did. Because you understand that
What
this
part?
is in Tales from Ba Sing
Appa?
Se. No, in Tales from Ba Sing Se.
I've never cried at that.
You never cried at that.
I've never cried at that.
You are
I don't have a son. I told you I have no empathy.
okay, but you cried during the Appa thing. Appa's last days.
Yes, because I have lost pets.
This was the first time I've watched this, and Appa's last days really got to me. There's a couple moments in Zuko alone where I wasn't gonna cry, but I was like, okay, I'm relating more to this. But like Appa's last days, I was like, man. I don't remember this being that rough of an episode the last time I watched this through. Wow. I'm having some trouble here. And I was not in a place that it was socially acceptable to be tearing up or crying or anything like that. So I pushed it down and squashed it like the, the emotionally
like the
repressed.
Sasquatch you are.
Like the Sasquatch I am. But it was like, wow, this is kind of rough. And there was a couple, I forget what some of the other ones were. Because immediately blanking them from my mind so they couldn't hurt me later. You will not sneak up. Right. You emotions will not sneak up at me in the dark.
Can't open that floodgate. It's like Bruce Willis and Friends when they finally get him to open up to his emotion. He just can't shut the gate.
Bible says, if thy left hand or if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. Well, emotions offend me. Cut them off.
Precise.
That may not be how that verse is intended to be used, but here we go. But I mean, like, I'm watching this and I'm like, man, this, number one, I was reveling in how well written the show was. And then because it is probably the best written show of the current century. I don't know any long form show that has writing to this caliber. Can you think of any masters? Did I miss one?
Firefly.
I've seen Firefly.
You said long writing though, so never mind.
I said long form. I would say even one season would be sufficient. However, Firefly didn't even get through a whole season. That's a whole other story.
Well, that's what happens when you air a show out of order.
Yeah.
And at non-premium times. They wanted the show to fail.
That is another thing that has me upset, but we'll get... I mean... Have you ever looked into the background behind Treasure Planet?
Yes.
About
and
how...
I have explicitly explained those reasonings for its bad box office success on Reddit before, and had lots of people argue with me, and then I showed them proof, and they were like, "Oh,
yeah,
never mind, carry on."
For those not aware, and it's very easy to find out there, so I'm not going to link anything, or you can do your own research. Treasure Planet.
What do you think this is? A traditional podcast?
Yeah.
No, go do your own research.
Do your own research. We are going to make unfounded claims and expect you to back us up. But Treasure Planet was intentionally torpedoed by Disney. Like, they wanted that movie to fail. And they did everything in their power to make sure that it did. And it is a travesty because I'm pretty sure even the one character in there who arguably was a detriment to the whole, and I say arguably intentionally because I still have a soft spot for him because it's Martin Short. And I love Martin Short. He's amazing. But even even that character was a required addition by Disney. Like, it wasn't he wasn't really in there, or he wasn't.
Are you talking about the robot?
Yes.
Is that who?
Yes.
Jar Jar Binks of the movie?
Yes. Disney let the director make his movie, and they shoehorned in this character to be like, well, we need this movie to appeal to kids. And he's like, have you ever encountered Jules Verne? Although Jules Verne didn't write that, did it? No. Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. I forget who wrote Treasure Planet. Darn it. Not Treasure Planet. Treasure Island.
You're looking it up now, aren't you?
No, I'm rubbing my face in my hand because I'm an idiot. I'm facepalming.
Gavin made a false claim?
Not a false claim, an incorrect claim. A false claim is I'm trying to mislead you. An incorrect claim is I'm just an idiot. Of course, all my search history is Muppet Treasure Island, so we'll see if this comes up or not.
Robert Louis Stevenson.
That's the one.
Ooh, he's Scottish.
He is. But yeah, so I forget where I was going with that. Again. But yeah.
Bears.
There is in the original novel, there is a character like Ben, but it's not quite to that extent by a long shot, and it was definitely a addition that was not necessary. Yeah, I think that movie would probably have benefited with him not being in it. But even with him in there, I can get behind what he does add to the film. I'll be a Ben apologist. Probably shouldn't be, but I will be. I mean, if I'm
liked him.
Say if I'm going to launch a defense of Wild Wild West, I should at least be a Ben apologist.
I loved Wild Wild West. What's wrong with Wild Wild West?
There is so much wrong with Wild Wild West, but I still love it anyway. It is big, dumb fun. In fact, when I heard that Oklahoma was being ceded back to the Indians, I made a Wild Wild West meme about Dr. Arliss Lovelace and, the United Divided. Oh, such a great scene. I love it. Did I post that in my meme chat? I don't know. Probably. That seems like a thing I would do. I did. Yeah. Oh. That is another film that everyone should see at some point in their life. I don't care if you like it or not. You should watch it anyway.
Hey, Gavi, why are you marked as idle?
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't think I'm here. Maybe I marked myself idle because I was tired of like 3 people message. Oh, that might explain a lot.
What do you mean? That might explain a lot.
So I don't know when I clearly marked myself as idle intentionally because I had to uncheck myself on doing that.
Yeah.
But a couple weeks ago, I had a couple people who were just like bearing down my neck trying to get my attention on Discord. And I believe I marked myself as idle. And all this week, I've not only not heard from them, I've not hardly heard from anybody else. So
Except me, because I don't care if you're idle or not. I'm going to message you.
I know. But like, it's like, wait a second. There might be a reason why I haven't heard from any. Because like, I've been playing Call of Duty with some of my Sunday school kids. And they haven't messaged me all week. And I'm like, man, did they just stop playing? What happened? And I'm checking their Discord. And I'm like, what's going on here? Nothing. I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're just not going to play. I'll just get some more sleep. And then I'm like, wait a second. I understand now. There's a clue, Sherlock.
Sorry, I was just scrolling back up through our conversations and got to the meme with okay, but now I've got to go look with Wash in it.
With the who to what?
Wash. That's his name on Firefly. Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
As a pirate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I wasn't even reading the meme. I was just looking at Alan Tudyk and laughing because I love him.
He's amazing. It's just
specific. My favorite line out of all the Firefly series comes from his mouth,
which
and
is
it's great. So another character on the show, Kaylee Fry, played by Jules Staite, Staite. I can never pronounce her last name. But she looks at him and says, "Wash, do you think I'm pretty?"
Uh-huh.
And he turns and, without even thinking, he says, were I unwed, I would take you in a manly fashion." And she responds with, "Because I'm pretty?" He says, "Because you're pretty."
So, funny story. I marked I marked myself from being idle to being online. My Sunday school kid just messaged me right now.
He was watching.
Oh wow. Yep.
Wait, Alan Tudyk is an eyed robot?
Yeah, he's Sunny.
Really?
Yeah. He's in a ton of stuff, man.
Yeah, he's in Wreck-It Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't seen the second one. It's not on Disney Plus.
Really? That's weird. It's not bad. But I mean, like there's definitely better things. But yeah, Alan Tudyk is in a ton of different things.
He was in Moana.
Mm-hmm. He was Hey.
Oh.
He was Iago in the live-action Aladdin film, which
he's in Frozen.
Yeah. He's in everything, man.
He is in everything.
He's K2SO. I mean,
yeah, I knew that.
Okay, just making sure.
Who is he in Frozen? And Frozen 2?
Let me see. Who is he in Frozen 2? He's just a bunch of extra voices.
Oh, guard, leader, soldier, Duke of Wesselton.
Oh, he is the Duke of Wesselton. I didn't even think about that, but yes, he absolutely is.
I'm spry as a peacock.
He's in Big Hero 6. What is your opinion on Big Hero 6? Have we talked about this?
We have not. I love Big Hero 6.
I've heard... I've run into a couple of people who are absolutely against Big Hero 6. They think it's a terrible movie and they don't like it. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Who hurt you as a child?
What is wrong with them?
It doesn't make any sense. Big Hero 6 is... It's just heartwarming and fun. Just let it be. Just let it be. I don't understand why people...
What are their complaints with it?
They think it's contrived, that it's,
Contrived? What's contrived about it?
They think that the villain twist is, too predictable, as it were, which, okay, I guess that might be a legitimate criticism. But, all of the, as far as I'm concerned, all of the criticism I've heard of Big Hero 6 has not been anything that really stuck to it. Is it the greatest film of all time? Certainly not. But it's not bad in any particular area, so much to the point that it'd be like, oh, this is clearly what's wrong with the film. It's like, no, it is a solid 7 movie from beginning to end. Like, certain parts go up to like 7.5. It's a good movie. You can watch it very comfortably and not be like, oh man, I don't know what to do. It's like, it is just, it's good, it's even, it has the right beats, and it has a really heartfelt ending. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want?
So have you seen the theories on the sequel to Big Hero 6?
No.
So there's a theory out there that the portal from the first movie is actually a time machine when used properly, and that my goodness, I'm gonna pull it up to get name correct.
And that they're gonna drop into the MCU.
No, Hero is actually Hero's big brother. And he gets trapped back in the past, and he goes and tries to save his younger self, and motivate him to do all these cool things. And then when the explosion actually happens, he doesn't die. He gets shunted back into his present, and is a superhero in that timeline.
Okay. This, because I was going to say, when he dies, it sounded like a closed loop, which it does work for time travel. There's a meme that I saw a couple years ago about Batman. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Maybe not really a meme, but like a okay. So there's a theory, or kind of like a I don't know, like a fan created story arc where Batman gets sent back in time. Okay. Is this it? I think this is it. So some villain who knows or learns of Batman's secret identity gains access to time travel, and in order to rid himself of his nemesis, goes back in time to ensure there is never a Batman. The Bat, of course, manages to get wind of the time travel plan and follows the crook back in time. At first, he is certain that young Bruce is the target, and he merely has to save himself. But then he gets to the scene of the original crime and realizes the time-traveling crook was never going to kill anybody. He is there to save Bruce's parents, thus ensuring that Batman never has reason to be. Our confused and distraught hero is unable to act momentarily and watches his parents' murder battle the would-be savior, only to see the savior win. In a Ghost of Christmas Past-style flashback, all the good Batman has done over the years flashes before his eyes and starts to fade. That is, until the decisive moment, when Batman picks up the dead, non-murderer's gun and turns it on his own parents, thus retconning the origin of Batman into a disturbing, immaculate self-conception of the Ouroboros puking up its own tail. Basically, Batman gets set back in time and becomes the guy in the alley that kills his parents to set Bruce Wayne on the path to becoming Batman.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And I'm like, I've seen it presented better than that article that I found, but the concept was there enough, and I'm like, that seems like the kind of dark story that I would write. Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, it's not a good thing. But I mean, I can see the thing with Big Hero 6, but they really do have to pull him back out so that it doesn't become a closed loop, because then he would be traveling back in time just to kill himself, to set himself back on the path to becoming the guy who kills himself. So the time paradoxes are weird, man.
Yeah, they are, and I love them. I absolutely love stories that involve time travel, just for the simple fact that I want to know if their version of time travel lines up with what I perceive to be the correct version. And it's only ever happened in a couple of movies, and I can't think of them off the top of my head because I am very tired. Who decided to do D&D at 8 o'clock in the morning?
It was kind of a group decision, really.
It was really Monkey's fault, let's be honest.
He
didn't want to do Friday nights anymore.
I had recommended that we could do it an hour later, and then somebody said let's do it an hour earlier, and I'm like, okay.
Well, that became Foxy's fault because he has to go to work at 12.
Right. But yeah. So
it happened to be the best time for the most amount of people to be able to join, and I'm very tired.
I mean, at this point, are we really sure we want all this group?
What now?
I said, at this point, are we really sure we want all this group to be showing up?
I don't want any of this group to show up. What are you talking about?
Did we offend your DM sensibilities?
No, you just require me to do much more work than I want to put in.
I mean, just wait until we get into whatever this new campaign is that you're talking about doing for 3 years.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
I have no idea what I'm going to do for that, because you say pick a totally new character class. And I'm like, well, I haven't done a lot, but I've done like 4 different characters so far, and...
Yeah. Well, I just don't want... Because going from our short little thing we did...
You're trying to... Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it so that Ducky doesn't try and change into weird animals. And you're also trying to make it so that Foxy doesn't try and change into weird animals.
I just don't want Ducky to pigeonhole herself into a rogue, when she might find another class that she actually enjoys a lot more.
And might be better at playing.
And might be better at playing. Because, oh my goodness, did she play the rogue so weird today. Like, rogues don't stay back. They're not scared of anything.
Yeah.
Rogues are ninjas. Why are you like way back there?
I was a better rogue than Ducky, and I wasn't a rogue.
Yes. Yes, you were the best swashbuckler rogue ever, and you're a monk.
Stat of drunken master for the win.
The only thing you didn't have was advantage on all of your attacks.
Yes, that would have been.
Which you could have gotten a couple of times if you had just taken one more step to the right.
I was trying to, but there were bad people there, and I couldn't move them.
Not every time.
That was. Well, I was also working on distances, and I was also considering about just getting out of there.
But yeah, Kuya's already told me straight up that he's going to have a bow, regardless of what we do. He's going to play with a bow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
I want to slap him around sometimes. He's so stubborn.
You have banned me in every campaign so far from doing homebrew things. I have a homebrew item I want to try and bring into the next campaign, but
no.
Why?
No.
Why?
No.
Why? Explain it to me.
Because homebrew items often wreck the balance of things. And as a fairly new DM, I don't know how to make corrections.
I have a wonderful way to. I've even thought about a way to balance it.
No.
I've also thought about a way to break that balance, but
again, I say no.
But I have to wait until I'm at least level 4 to do that. So what's the big deal?
No. So, yeah, basically, I just didn't want people to play the same characters over and over and over again. Pick a new character.
Right.
It's like explore all of your options before you pigeonhole yourself into one thing. You might think this is what I want to do, and then when you try other things, you're like, oh no, this is much better than this is more towards what I would want to do.
I'm going to be honest. There's a part of me
because
Go ahead.
I have almost played every single class in at least 3 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I've played. So I haven't played a barbarian yet, but I'm going to start playing a barbarian on Tuesday nights. Because I got tired of playing my artificer. I will never play artificer again. Not my style of play.
Really?
It was fun, but it wasn't for me. So I have a barbarian that I'm starting up on Tuesday nights now. He's a Luxodon.
What happened
he's an elephant person.
What happened with
he ran away?
No, I mean, like, why did you decide you didn't like Artificer anymore?
Oh, I just didn't like how it. So I have decided I don't like half casters.
Okay.
And that's what an artificer basically is.
Okay.
Because if I get spells and I'm supposed to be somewhat relying on spells, I don't like the slow progression of how many spells I can get. The things like Artificer and whatnot, and Warlock. I didn't like Warlock either.
Yeah, Warlock I've heard bad things about. Well, isn't
yes, you have.
Yeah. I actually read that. You didn't.
I haven't. No. And I won't.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, so I'll be playing Barbarian on Fridays. I played a Bard a long time ago, like my first ever experience with D&D, when I had absolutely no idea what was going on. But I'll probably never play Bard again for the simple fact that most DMs expect the Bard to be a Bard, like IRL.
Okay.
Because there's a whole quote unquote unpopular opinion going around about people about DMs and bards, about how they because they're like you don't make a person playing a barbarian lift a 30-pound dumbbell to prove that they're strong.
Right.
Why are you making the bard sing?
I mean,
prove that they can sing.
I would play a bard even with that rule, but
Well, yeah, but but I mean, it's just stuff like that. I mean, I'll eventually try a bard out.
and I have a harmonica here that will make you stop asking for that.
But I don't think the bard is gonna be a class for me. But I'm gonna try it out anyways,
Okay.
just because I've tried cleric.
Mhm.
I actually kind of enjoyed cleric, but I like more being the damage dealer and the like. There's nothing I love more than dealing a crap ton of damage, and it just feels great.
Okay.
So, a druid is another half caster, but the specific druid I played him as a melee class,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. I
Yeah.
still have that character, and I plan to use him again.
See, that's the thing that
I
people.
loved that character so much.
That's the thing that I think some of our people today weren't really picking up on. That you, especially Foxy, who was like, "Oh, I'll just do 13s across the board." It's like, no, you're.
Yeah. Yeah, when I switched over his character sheet and I saw 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, and he was like, "Oh, I've only got a +1 of that." Well, you made it that way.
Yeah.
It's like that's not how you do this.
No.
You're gonna have bad stats. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a -2 in dexterity.
That
It sucks. It really sucks. But it's okay to have it.
that can make your character interesting if
Yes,
you allow it.
that is what makes your character interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I fail on initiatives, no matter how high my initiative is interesting. Seriously, I have a character that has a +6 on initiative, and I still come in last on initiative order a lot of the times.
That's just bad rolling. I mean,
Yes, that's just bad rolling. But it's uncanny how often that happens. And like to the point that no matter which campaign I'm in, because I play on Monday night, I play on Tuesday night, Thursday night, and then Saturday and Sunday I'm DM.
mm-hmm.
But there are 3 nights that I play, and there are a couple of people that are the same in those 3 nights, but there are some people that are only Monday night or only Tuesday night or only Thursday night.
Right.
And every single time I roll well on initiative, they're like, "Oh, like it's a big deal when I roll big on initiative." It's hilarious because literally 95% of the time I am below 10 on initiative. Let's see. Fighter. I've played Fighter. I played the Eldritch Knight. I played that in the campaign that we shall not repeat. Very shortly. But I like Fighter. I'll probably pick up Fighter again at some point after I've gone through everything. Monk, I've played a couple of times now. I love playing Monk.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Paladin yet. I understand how Paladin works. I just haven't actually played one yet. I actually have a character ready to play as a Paladin whenever another opportunity arises.
Right.
I have my Thursday night character, Venjo, is a ranger. Though I'm playing him as like he's a fighter. It's hilarious. Like me and Micro and some other person were talking about rangers. And well, I know who the person is. You don't, so I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
We're talking about rangers, and the other guy said, "Yeah, the revised ranger is actually pretty good if you do this subclass." And then I said, "Well, ranger is actually really good when I play him on Thursday nights, and I play him like he's a fighter." And then Micro tunes in and goes, "So basically, ranger's good if you don't play it like a ranger."
I mean, sure.
Ranger is seriously underbalanced according to a lot of people. Rogue, I love Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
I just love sneaky, stabby. Sorcerer, I wasn't a fan, or I'm not. Well, I love. So my Monday night, I'm a sorcerer. I love my sorcerer character, but I love him because of his personality, not because he's a sorcerer. I don't like his sorcerer part of him. But when I level up next, I'm leveling into wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's more built like a wizard, anyways. But I was trying to be a sorcerer, and his story. It works out with the story I gave him. But it's going to be fun transferring him into a wizard. So he'll actually be super awesome eventually. Actually, no, never mind. The campaign I'm playing on Monday nights, I was thinking about playing with you guys,
Right.
but it is more dungeon, and less role play.
Okay.
And I think our team would have a lot more fun with the role play aspect if I can just get Foxy to role play. Oh my goodness, you tried your hardest today to get him to role play.
Yeah.
You tried. You asked him point blank questions, and he was just like, "Yes, no." I was like, "Come on,
It's
you
like
can do it."
it's like he
Come
didn't
on.
realize I was doing a Kermit voice.
Yeah. And so we've already talked about Warlock. But yeah, so Wizard, Paladin, and Bard and Barbarian are the 4 classes I haven't played yet, and I'm going to play through all 4 of those before I actually go back to the other classes on purpose, because I want to experience all of them. And my character list is getting rather long now. I have 26 characters made right.
Yeah, I still haven't paid for it, so I'm down. I only have 6 available slots, so I have 2. The 2 I'm using.
Yeah, I just straight up paid for it just because if I'm going to be DMing a lot,
Yeah.
which apparently I am,
Mm-hmm.
it's just easier to give everybody all the source material so you guys can go and look up whatever you need to. None of you do, but you have that ability.
I look up a lot of stuff for when I'm building my character. And when I try to make informed decisions on building my characters, I don't always make the right decisions. I think I have actually wasted both of the feats that I gave to Rezo because I don't think he's ever really used either one of them.
What 2 feats does Rezo have?
Warcaster and Spell Sniper.
You haven't really had an opportunity to use Spell Sniper. Warcaster.
I've never had to use it. I've never had an opportunity to use it. Nothing has ever allowed me to take an opportunity attack. I play him.
That's because you don't ever go into battle.
Right. Well, I play him very much as a rear guard, but it's working. And I feel like I'm genuinely contributing. There's probably an argument to be made against that, but I feel like I'm genuinely contributing.
Do you have a shield?
I do.
Okay, then you've been using Warcaster.
What does Warcaster have to do with shield?
Warcaster gives you the ability to continue to hold your shield while casting somatic component needing spells.
Okay.
So, like when you have to use your hands, generally you would have to drop your weapons in your shield.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a free hand to use your somatic components,
Mm-hmm.
but because you have Warcaster, you can keep your shield up. Do the thing. And you use the advantage on Constitution saving throws all the time. That's another thing Warcaster gives you.
Oh, advantage on con saves?
Yep.
Nice.
When you're to maintain concentration.
Right. Okay. I guess that one's legit.
Yeah. But Spell Sniper, you haven't really had a use for it.
I picked up Spell Sniper specifically so that I could pick up a bonus action cantrip, and then it turns out that was not actually a bonus action cantrip. And so, yeah, screw it.
But yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so the Paladin I have in mind, I want to play her so bad. My first female character that I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
She's a centaur.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play her so bad. She's based off of the new book, the Mythic Odysseus of Theros.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play it. I want to play her so bad, but I haven't had a new campaign come up that would warrant her. Although, if my Tuesday night character, no, I was gonna play her for my Tuesday night character, but we already have a paladin in that, so that's why I went barbarian. And then I'm gonna go rogue or monk. Was it monk? Let me go back and look at it. So my Monday night character, if he dies, which I really hope he doesn't because he's gonna be awesome, his end goal is to become a god.
Mm-hmm.
So in our last game, we're in this dungeon, and I go. We're in one hallway, and there's a statue, and it's like it had an inscription that said, "You look upon me through the eyes of the bronze, something another." And I had picked up the bronze mask from earlier, and somebody was like, "Put the bronze mask on it," and I was like, "Okay." And so I put the bronze mask on it, and he said, "Nothing happens." And then I said, "What does the inscription say again?" It said, "Gaze upon me with the through the." I was like, "Oh." I put the mask on and look at the statue through the mask. He says, "Nothing happens where you're standing." And I said, "Okay." I step forward,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Okay, you're taken away into another room." And so I was taken away into this other room, and it was just me, and there was another guy in there, and it was actually the mage of the entire dungeon.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Ask me 3 questions." And of course, we're doing this out in the open, so everybody can hear the questions I'm asking. But I said, "What is the most powerful thing that we're going to face in here, other than you, of course?" Because he would have said him. And he copped out and said all of his. Oh, he said that 2 of his answers would be true and 1 would be false. And he told us that the most dangerous thing that we would have to contend with would be his runes, his magical runes. I was like, well, that's a cop out because that's technically still you, but I'll let it slide because you're powerful and whatnot. And then I asked, what was the fastest way to get to the end of the dungeon? And I don't remember what he said. But then my third question, I said, "How do I become a god?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "We'll talk later."
Right.
I was like, "That's not an answer, but okay." And so I looked around in the room. There wasn't much in there. And then I flashed back out. And in character, "Hey, what went on in that room?" And I went, "Not much." And they were like, no, we inside checked that. And so they all rolled inside checks, but I'm a sorcerer, so my charisma is really high.
Right.
And so I rolled a 21. I rolled a 27. And he crit and got a 21. And so I beat him. And so he was like, "Yeah, he seems like there wasn't anything interesting in that room." And they were like, "Fine, there's not anything interesting in that room." I love that character so much.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So far I've done Barbarian, which I didn't play right because I didn't know what I was doing. I've done Fighter. I've done Cleric, which I really, really, really like Rezo. I might like him more as a character than I do actually as a class, but I really like.
Yep.
I really, really, really like Rezo.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the sorcerer.
Yep. Kern, he's growing on me. I kind of like a lot of stuff that he's doing. I'm not really sure what to do with the level up you gave us today, but it probably doesn't matter.
I didn't give it to you. The module gave it to you.
Right, but it probably doesn't matter that much because we apparently only have one little thing to go through at this point. So I'm probably just gonna bump up his dex and call it good. probably.
It's probably wise for a monk.
Mm-hmm. Did we get any healing or anything?
You guys are all back at max health.
Okay. Well, the new max. Mine is 14.
Oh, that was very unlucky. He crit, and you failed the save.
Yep.
You were the only one that failed the save. It was a DC 10. You rolled a 7.
No, Foxy also failed.
Yes, Foxy, you're right. Foxy also failed, but his was only reduced by 8.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get crit on.
And he's a lot bigger than me, so he has more health. In theory.
I don't think he does, actually. I think he has less health than you. Because he has 13 on everything.
Right. Yeah, that just kills you. It really kills you.
He's done it for every single character. Every single character. So his earlier characters, he would do some 14s and then some 10s.
Right.
But yeah, when I saw this one today and it was straight 13s, I was like, Foxy. Go watch a YouTube video, dadgummit.
Have you ever heard of the idea of the Master of None? I mean,
I literally said that to him. Because he was complaining about he only have a +1 in this. Well, when you roll straight 13s like that, you can be the jack of all trades and the master of none.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And he keeps trying to push this stupid picture on me to use as his profile picture. Have you seen it?
The one that he has on D&D Beyond?
On D&D Beyond, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be.
It's a picture that he took of a screen where a friend had sent him a rendering of one of his characters from some game.
Well, I mean,
it's like, first of all, it's a picture of a picture on a screen. It's not even a screenshot.
Right.
A screenshot would be better than a picture of a picture.
Yeah. And it's...
Oh, look, he used his level up to give his constitution and his wisdom a boost by 1. He has 23 HP. Now, after his level up.
Yeah.
You had 24 before your level up.
Right. Well, with everything in place right now, I have 17. And I think that's because I did give myself that dex modifier while you were talking. And I believe the dex actually does add to my HP somehow or another because of weird monk things. But I could be wrong. Not. So, I guess I'm wrong.
No, it's so as a monk, I think you get a D8. So your average would be 5 plus whatever your con is. So your con must be +2.
Oh, I think so, yeah. And I think that's just a grung thing. See, that's where I go. Some people are like, oh, I want to play this. Well, I don't do that. I started at the race and then I build up from there. I'm like, what would make a...
Oh, I do too. I do too. I think, okay, well, actually, no, I started the class. I think, okay, what class do I want to play? Okay, what race would be fun to play this as? And sometimes I go for an obvious choice, like my barbarian that's also a giant elephant man. It's like, sometimes I go for the obvious, but then other times I go for the not obvious. Let's see here. I don't have... Oh, I must have deleted them. Oh, like a wild magic shifter cleric. Yeah. So my shifted form gives me increased wisdom, or gives me advantage on wisdom checks.
Right.
But I'm hardly ever in my shifted form. So, and my shifted form goes away after I lose my temporary hit points given to me by the shifted form. So I hardly ever get to use those abilities. And other than that, that class helps, or that race helps me none to be a cleric. But it was an interesting character, so. And I favor interesting characters over straight up ones.
Yeah. like, again, I'm not really thrilled with some of the choices I've made as Rezo, but I'm not going to ask to let those be changed, because I'm
Mostly
just
because I would say no.
I know, but I'm not. So I'm not even going to ask for those things to be changed, because it's like, I'm just going to play him as he is, and he is a flawed character. That is the core of who he is. He is a flawed character, and he's working to correct his flaws, and I think that's a really.
So
I think that's the best way to play it. Yeah.
The consensus of Rezo this past week has been that they love the duality of your goddesses.
I am very happy I came up with that. That's one of those things where I spent way too much time thinking about it, and I'm like, well, this is the only thing that makes sense, so we're just going to run with it. Again, this is one of those things that I did a lot of research on. I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to be a cleric of Tamora, then I should figure out what Tamora is. Oh, she has this counterpart, Bashaba. Okay, well, what's Bashaba's deal? And I'm like, well, the more I think about it, one is, the goddess of, good fortune. The other one is the goddess of mischief and bad luck. And I'm like, well, if one, it's like the on-off switch. You're either having good luck or bad luck, good luck or bad luck, good luck or bad luck. Of course, this is a very simplified version of it. And Avatar would disagree with me because, there are 87 jinns, but that was not a bad King Boomy. For a brief second. But
very brief.
Very brief.
It'll never happen again.
Never in a million years. I could not willfully make myself do that again. But for what it is, there's the positive jinn and the negative jinn, and there's neutral jinn. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. But in Rezo's case, it is black or white. You are doing good or you are doing evil, and whether you are aware of it or not, if you are doing evil, the goddess of good will not support you, and if you are doing things which cause more evil to come into the world, then the goddess of evil will not support you. So it's like, it's a lot more complicated character than I thought I was making when I set him out to be just a charlatan. A charlatan ne'er-do-well, and I'm like, wait a second, no, there's actually some meat here on these bones, and I'm really, really enjoying getting into him, and it's going to be fun. I was telling you about this Mr. Ripper thing on YouTube. I went on their Reddit, and I posted, because they had a thing come up like, what are some interesting ways to deal with alignment? And I'm like, well, I just happen to be in the alignment campaign at the moment where everybody's alignment is severely affecting the story. So let's give you guys a rundown on that. I don't know if they'll actually make it into a video or not, but I think it's cool.
You sent it to them?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I may not have gotten everybody's alignments exactly right, but I think I did from what I remember.
It's mostly lawful good, neutral good, and
chaotic good, right? You cannot tell me that Calliope is not chaotic.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I think chaotic neutral.
Well, I may have told them that she's chaotic good, but I mean, that's not really the point.
So Scrap is currently, well, he thinks he's currently neutral good. Scrap does. Langley is neutral good. Calliope is chaotic neutral.
Okay. So I was wrong on that one.
I think everybody else is neutral good except for Fang, who is lawful good. And I think you said you were lawful good?
I'm lawful neutral.
Lawful neutral.
Because he set out to be lawful good. But again, his backstory is so messed up you can't actually call him good.
Yeah.
I killed 500 people in defense of cannibals. Kind of an indefensible... Unknowingly, but it's kind of an indefensible act. You're like, wait a second.
Oh my goodness.
I so wish I'd have been part of that call.
Uh, so this podcast is now the Muppet and D&D show.
Yes. Well, at least for tonight it is. Well, we talked a little bit about some other things.
We always talk about. My headset is falling apart, by the way. I don't know what it is, but there are plastic pieces falling off of it left and right.
I'm glad that is not happening to me.
Like, I don't think it's anything important that's falling off.
Just like the outer shell?
And it still feels like the top band doesn't snap like it's supposed to
Right.
onto it. But I mean, wearing it, I can't tell a difference. But I took it off one day last week and noticed that it was shaped weirdly, and so I kind of like tried to place it back in place where it's supposed to go, and I noticed there were plastic pieces missing, and then I just reached up to like just rest my hands on my head, and another piece fell off into my hand.
How old is this headset?
It's right at a year.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, the sound quality and everything is great. What I wonder if I dropped it at some point, or if somebody else dropped it at some point that I was unaware. Because generally, when I'm here at home, I take it off and I hang it on my my mic boom arm, and then I put it down. And when I use it, I take it off, I put it on, I move my boom arm. And then when I travel places, I use the case.
Right.
That's a very sturdy case. So, but it was in a giant. No, I stuck it in my backpack both times, where it had no room to be jostled around. Although, it was in a sturdy case, so it shouldn't have a sturdy case inside of a bag specifically designed to protect electronics.
Right.
So it shouldn't have messed up from travel.
Right.
So the only thing I can think of is that somebody might have dropped it. But I don't know who would have had it to drop it.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. But they still work fine. Just like they used to.
Good.
There's no discernible difference other than there's plastic pieces falling off of them.
I say I've had mine, I think, for 3 or 4 years.
And these were like $200 headphones.
Wow, and I didn't pay anywhere near that. Mine are like near pristine. So I don't know.
Well, mine are wireless, Bluetooth, headset, microphone.
Okay.
Noise canceling.
I mean, mine are noise canceling. They have a microphone, a detachable microphone actually, which is beneficial because I now have a much better microphone that's attached to my desk.
Yes.
But I mean, even just the headphones themselves are they're decent. They're noise canceling. But I only pay like $60. So I don't know.
Are you sure they're noise canceling or are they noise isolating?
They have passive noise canceling features.
Okay, passive noise. Mine has active noise canceling.
Right.
And oh my goodness, on a plane, you can definitely tell.
I that might be the other thing. I don't take mine anywhere. They are always at my desk.
Yeah. I've taken mine on 2 plane rides now and a drive down to Florida. All right, Mr. Gavi, is it about time we call it?
I mean, we could. Are you just saying that because you heard me yawn?
I'm saying that because I've yawned 100 times since we've started this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. Um, yeah, we could call it here. I don't know if there's that much. I don't know if there was that much good that we did already, but I don't know if there's that much more we could do. Um,
I mean, we could discuss D&D for another hour, hour and a half, 3 hours, 12 hours.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would like to get some a better idea of what I'm going to be doing with your, um, with the next adventure.
oh, that reminds me, I was gonna go get D&D tip. What's that one? The really bad D&D guide.
Oh, the one that was posted in the Mavericks.
Yes.
Oh, I'll pull it for you. Where are you? I watched it all. It was amazing.
Yes, I've watched them all too. I was gonna post them in our Saturday D&D group and let them feast on those. The ones that need to, aka Foxy.
And Ducky.
Well, Ducky's watching.
Yeah,
Critical Role.
She still needs help.
So she just told me.
I just saw the College of Dudes go past me.
Though, now that I think about it, she's playing her rogue like the guy in Critical Role plays his rogue at first,
Okay.
where he's scared of everything. Of course, he's a little goblin girl.
Okay. Yeah, and she's not that.
Yeah. Oh, now that I think about it, it totally makes sense why she played it like that today.
I think I missed it entirely.
Yeah, I can't find it. I've scrolled up.
Oh, there it is. Found it.
Is it really far up there? They talk a lot after midnight.
Yeah, they need to work out their timing because, like, here, I'll just drop it here in our private conversation here. The embed got taken down, but there you go.
A crap guide to
D&D. Yeah. Again, another thing you guys should probably look up if you're interested at all. Look up a crap guide to D&D. It's pretty good. Very
it's hilarious.
Very accurate.
It's a little informative. It's very accurate. It's hilarious. Is it just one video?
No, it's a full playlist. And
that's what I was thinking.
That is the full playlist.
Oh, the video you sent me is the full playlist, or the link you sent me is the full playlist?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Ooh,
There's like 9 videos or something, more than that.
18.
I was halfway there.
They're all real short.
Yeah.
They're 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. I think the longest one is Races, which is also hilarious. Yeah.
Here are some videos to help you learn a little bit more about the rules of D&D.
Dude.
Enjoy.
You see, this is my thing because
something went wrong.
Fun. Would you?
You enjoyed the videos. Well, the link works. It must just be a.
Yeah, I don't know. Seeing, I mean, not to toot my own horn. Again, it's a terrible phrase when you're about to say something to be self-aggrandizing, but here we go. As I appear to be playing a bit more D&D than the rest of these folks, I've been kind of trying to tailor my character decisions around filling in the gaps that they have.
You didn't do a good job of that today.
Well, if it hadn't have been for me, we probably would have all died in the first encounter.
That's also true.
So I think I did a very good job of filling in the gaps.
My goodness.
I was doing all the damage.
I didn't think we were at, like, literally, we wasted 5 minutes of you guys just going, well, I'm just going to sit here.
Well, you're the one who told us we had to do initiative on that one. I think if we'd have just run, we'd have been doing better. But,
What do you mean run?
like, just, hey, I'm gonna do this, rather than waiting your turn patiently in line.
Oh, no. Anytime you have more than three, anytime there's a social situation
Mm-hmm.
where you have three or more characters have an idea all at once,
Mm-hmm.
you roll initiative to see who gets to make their idea first.
Okay.
Or else it's just it would have taken a lot longer had I not rolled initiative.
In my defense, I still think lighting a torch is the correct move. Character-wise, maybe not for actually doing anything, but character-wise, lighting a torch was the correct move.
Yes, you can light a torch and walk towards the door at the same time. Just saying.
He's got low intelligence.
Your character is not so dumb that that he can't chew gum and walk at the same time.
Well, he doesn't really have teeth, so chewing gum, not really hot. Anyway, my goal is to try and fill in the gaps, so I guess I gotta wait a little while for other people to come up with ideas before I...
Your character's not that dumb. He's a little below average. 6 would be dumb.
That's not outside the realm of possibility. I can make that happen.
Oh yeah, well, you would have to either roll or manually insert numbers.
Or just pick an orc.
Or just pick an orc. You are correct. But my like I would say, we were going to end, and then we're still going.
Yep.
My Monday night character, his dexterity is 7.
Some high level initiative rolls right there.
He has a -2 to initiative.
Mm-hmm.
A -2 to all of his dex stuff.
Yep. What is he?
He is a sorcerer. He's a gnome sorcerer.
Mm.
He is 3 foot tall, blue hair sticking straight up.
To approximate a cap?
Huh?
To approximate a gnomish cap? Well, gnomes
If you want to
typically
go that way.
Gnomes typically have a cap, and it's usually like this pointed thing on top of their head. So if he's not actually wearing a cap, he just has blue hair. Okay, it's fine.
There he is. His name is Byrick. His parents own a bookshop called Gnome Tomes.
Okay.
And you'll get this picture eventually whenever... there we go. That's what he looks like.
All right.
He has draconic ancestry.
Okay.
Bronze. He has bronze dragon blood running through his veins.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has bronze scales on his body.
Okay.
And he has an affinity for books and learning, and he has a thirst for knowledge that is unrivaled. And his ultimate goal is to become a god of knowledge, so that he can know everything. He is also chaotic neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And he does things like walk by an open pit where there is a seeming monster at the bottom that looks like they're about dead, shoots magic missiles at them, intending to kill them instantly, only to find out that the monster in the pit is a lot stronger than he originally anticipated. Yeah, that happened last week too.
Also fun.
The monster ended up joining our party.
Okay.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah, this will be an interesting one going forward. Because, like I said, you gotta break people out of bad habits. Um, I don't know how to help Kuya. Like I face palmed, rolled my eyes, and almost fell out of my chair at work when I saw his introduction. Because he's Felix, his race is human, his class is Archer.
We made that his character last night while me and him were digging up some stuff. Yeah.
And
If
like,
it wasn't for me, he probably wouldn't even have a character play today.
and I'm like, Archer?
Archer's not his class. Yes, Archer is not a class. He's a fighter with the Archer archetype.
Oh man, it's just tough. You gotta like we talked about this. My replacement character for Rezo, when I thought he was gonna be incarcerated or hanged, which were both very likely possibilities. Just bring that back up. Was going to be an archer of a certain extent, but it was going to be a ranger, and they were going to have artificer things, and they're going to be able to, basically turn a hand crossbow into a miniature machine gun. It's kind of my intention with that one.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that didn't work out. But that would have been a lot of arrows very, very quickly. I would not have been able to carry that many, I don't think.
Wait, what are you talking
Oh, the one that I was telling you about that was going to be the Fire Ganassi. That was like the ranger that came to track him down after he escaped. That was going to be
I understand that.
The ranger artificer.
What specifically are you talking about? Send me the character sheet.
I deleted it.
Because I know you have it. You deleted it. Why'd you delete it?
Why did I delete it? Because Rezo didn't die. I thought it was like, and it seems like he's not going to be going anywhere for at least another couple of sessions. So, and because you told me that trying to get one to come from this side of the world would probably be a better idea, and maybe I could tie it in with somebody else who's already got a character there, which makes sense. Yeah. But as things stand right now, Rezo's alive, and that's a good thing. Despite the fact that he's a war criminal.
All right, Gabby. Well, I am seriously about to fall asleep here.
All right.
So
I have church tomorrow.
stop distracting me with interesting conversation, dadgummit.
Yeah. It's what I do. It's what this whole thing is about. Well,
I know.
uh,
And I hate it that it's so effective.
I mean, technically, we only have 20 minutes until we hit that 3-hour-9 mark.
Shut up and hit the stop record button.
All right.
Well, I wanted to say the play button, but that's not right.
That's not how this works now. Well, thank you, everyone, Sass, for watching. For making it to this wonderful point in the program. We are now really departing from our typical...
That's my favorite running gag.
It's our only running
Thanks,
gag.
everyone. That's true. I don't know. We talk about the Muppets and D&D a lot.
We do.
That's not really a gag,
No,
though.
it's not. We also talk about Star Wars. I get angry. Actually...
that makes me want to gag. Does that count?
Actually, I'm wearing a shirt right now that says Star Wars is pro-Jedi propaganda. So...
Who wear that shirt a lot?
I probably should wear it more, actually.
Stop trying to get us back into conversation. Keep ending.
See, it's the only time I've ever bought a shirt from YouTuber. I was like, I have to own that, but I did. and I have it. It's great. I love it. But yeah, we thank you for stopping in, for putting up with all of our insane random drivel.
That is what this episode was.
Our obsession.
There was no deep substance to this one.
There's a little bit where I was walking through my existential crisis. I felt like that was substantial. I almost got into a deeper subject while we were talking about D&D and how you could potentially use characters in that to work through like issues that you're having personally, but I didn't do that.
I think that's what Micro is doing.
Oh God, I hope not. What he's doing should never be done.
Go on and kiss the girl.
Oh, we should have started singing that. Oh, we now have
I did sing that.
I didn't hear you.
It is in the recording. Go back and watch it.
That's going to be a thing that's going to happen in a lot louder fashion the next time that goes on. Oh man. I think Fang will join in.
No, Fang won't join in. Fang would say the other word.
That's fair. Yes.
It does start with an F.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it has been fun. We'll see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, same batty crazy hosts. Something like that.
Same mad co-host.
Yep. Remember, Batman killed his own parents, and it's been a great night. Thank you all for watching.
And Evil Kermit took over Real Kermit.
And Evil Kermit took over Real Kermit, and then he took over the D&D session this morning. Hold the story. That was not a good Kermit.
That wasn't Kermit. I wasn't trying to do Kermit.
Oh, that was Fozzie?
No, this is just the voice. This is Martian the Martian. Yeah.
No.
That rabbit took my procrastinator.
That's not Marvin the Martian. That's Margarine the Martian.
Margarine. I can't believe it's not Martin. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much. Goodbye.